Preface. The experts said this title would be too cynical for people to read. Nobody wants to read a book that says they're chained, one expert said. This is the self-help industry. People want to feel positive about their lives. They want a positive outlook on their future. They will only want to help themselves if the idea is something that makes them happy, said another. I thought to myself, how's that working out for people? But I said, yeah, that sounds about right. After we agreed I would change the title to be more positive, everyone shook hands and began to head for the door. I slammed my hand on the desk and shouted, "No! We are chained," I exclaimed with what little confidence they left in me. Or our behavior is chained, and telling people anything else might feel positive, but it sure as shit isn't true. And this book is going to be positive, but not at the expense of saying what we think people want to hear, I proclaimed. And speaking of hearing, expert 3 looked at me as if he had not heard one word I'd said. Come on, dude, we're hungry. Can we please discuss this after lunch? Yeah, man, or can't you just let us do our job? Don't you want us to sell this book you've written? Take our advice. Stick to what we've discussed, Expert 7 added in his conventional wisdom. Are you telling me your lives are not in chains? Step back and look at yourselves. You're filed in a line to eat lunch the same way you do every day, and literally at the same time as everyone else in the city. Expert 3, you're about to call your wife while waiting for an Uber because getting out of the parking garage takes too long for you. You will finish your emails on the car ride to the local burrito shop. Then you'll get the burrito, walk to the closest park bench, open a book you've been attempting to read for the past 16 weeks. You'll get on Facebook for 20 minutes, then say something like, "Damn you, Facebook, I wanted to get this chapter finished today." Then you will vape as you arrange for an Uber back to the office. In the 2 weeks that we've been meeting, can you tell me this does not happen every single day? Can anyone say differently about the way you get dressed in the morning or brush your teeth? No one said anything. So I continued. These are chains. They exist in all our lives. They link our behavior together, and they link our behavior to our environment. We have to talk about these things as they are, so people will have the eyes to see the links in their behavior patterns and the posts that hold these chains in place. I caught my breath as they all stood there gaping at me. I thought to myself, I guess this is where my first book never gets published. Accepting that I'd run off the rails at that moment, calling out Expert 3, on his Facebooking and vaping routine, I began packing away my notes. Expert 5, Cindy, said, I've never really thought about the things I do as chains. I have thought about habits or routines, but now that I think of it, my morning routine is one big chain. I wake up, I go straight to the bathroom to brush my teeth, then I sit with my ready-made coffee. In the morning darkness, after letting the dogs outside, I finish my cup, then I switch with the dogs. I go outside for a quick smoke before showering and dressing for work. The dogs come in the house for a wrestle before being kenneled. That's what I do every morning. Cindy rolled on. This reminds me of an anti-smoking television commercial. The guy was struggling to drink coffee and eat donuts in a cafe. At the end of the commercial, the narrator said, "If you can learn to drink coffee without cigarettes, you can learn to do anything without cigarettes." Smoking was part of his chain. He had removed smoking and everything else fell apart. But that's not the complete story. I think they were implying what you just said. I have a morning chain, and if I rebuild it without the smoking link, I can remove smoking from my day. The commercial guy should rebuild his morning chain. I should rebuild my morning chain. The rest of the group exchanged glances and affirming nods. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. One of the experts in the room, expert 4, had been silent until now. Then he spoke up. There is nothing negative about building and breaking chains, any more than it's negative to say it might rain later. Better bring an umbrella. I'm in. Enough with this title discussion. Let's go fulfill our lunch chains. In this short, brilliant, somewhat funny little book, we will be discussing chains in 2 parts. Those we need to build and those we need to break. But before we can do that, we need to get something straight. You do not just decide to become a doer.